Hello, it's Tea with Tom, and we are here live on Google Hangouts. And Tanise,
Hello.
introduce yourself. Who are you, and why are you here?
My name is Tanise Robnett, and I am an atheist. And I'm here because I'm a minority atheist, I guess. I'm Black and Hispanic, and I'm a woman, and you don't really get to hear a lot from that kind of voice. So I'm here just to talk about things like that.
So you're an atheist. That means you hate God, right?
No. I grew up Lutheran, and I love the Lutheran Church. I just don't believe in God.
I say that all the time. You go to a church, and half the people, they don't believe in God. They're just here for, whatever. They're just so used to going. They're like, I don't know what else to do with my Sundays. Because the people who actually believe in God, they don't go to church because it confuses them. They don't want to have too much information.
Yes.
My stepmother, and she'll never see this. Actually, she's always looking out for me, bad mouth in there, which I never do. I was always shocked when she gets so upset. She thinks that I'm just constantly saying bad things about her. But I've never known her to go to church at all. I mean, like at all. I mean, I had to go to church as a kid, and other than like Easter and maybe Christmas and maybe a wedding, she never went to church. But she's like super upset about me being an atheist.
Oh.
She says that she isn't, but she is.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
And I'm like, wow. I don't even know what religion you are, so why would I make fun of it?
That is interesting.
So we had some bad news.
What's up?
Morning.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Hawkins.
Yeah.
Hawking.
Yes.
He is gone. And
yes.
Somebody posted not Quran. It's, what is it? Quro. It's Quaro. It's a question and answer site.
Okay.
And somebody asked me the question: if you were a world-renowned astrophysicist, it's like who did you have in mind? What questions would you ask God if what questions would you ask God and Satan if you found them? And I thought about it. I'm like, I just where did the universe come from? How long did it take to create? Where do black holes end up? Are there stable wormholes? And all these astrophysicist questions. And
right.
And like, damn, I almost wish God was real because I've got these questions and I'm not even a world-renowned astrophysicist.
Yeah.
But I did have one question that I would ask Satan, and that is, you're really the guy in charge, aren't you? Like,
only if he's evil.
Hey, you're the one running the show.
Only if Satan really is evil. It depends on how you look at it.
I think Satan's the good guy. He's the reason God stopped interfering with people is because Satan said, enough's enough. Quit fucking with these people. Just leave them alone.
Exactly. I agree.
No more drowning people. No more turning people into salts. Just cut it out.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
Satan is my savior.
Yeah, but
yeah. You'd appreciate that. The satanic temple. Satan's in charge. Don't tell God.
Yeah.
God's like Trump. He just thinks he's in charge.
He just thinks, amen. That's a good one. Oh, at any rate. Yeah. Because the biblical God, if people actually read the Bible from like Genesis to Revelation with like an objective mind, they would see like how morally wrong the biblical God is. But it just seems like no matter how much I point this out to people, They always come up with some kind of reason
Well,
that it doesn't work. Yeah, excuses. That's a good word.
I mean,
Yeah.
people really bash the West Baptist Church, but
Yeah.
they've got it right. I mean, they are living their life biblically. They're out there ready to kick ass. I mean,
That's true.
God hates fags. You read the Bible, and apparently God also hates figs. But, only when they're not in season.
True too. But figs are delicious. So he has bad taste.
But it's astounding how people bend reality. I mean, I had some guy say, you made the claim that Christians, they start with a premise that God is real. I'm like, oh, yes, they do start with the premise is real. It's like, well, you start with the premise that God isn't real. I said, well, actually, the majority of atheists started with the premise that God was real. But where Christians kind of bend reality to fit what they think God is, atheists looked at reality and saw God just didn't work into the equation, and they stopped believing.
Right.
Because you read the Bible and you've got to really, all things are possible with God. It's like the all-encompassing magic is real if you believe in God.
Right.
I also love that, whenever you say God is magic, God's not magic. God is all powerful. Like, well, what is magic? I mean, like the supernatural, things that defy logic and reason and physics.
Right. Right.
But,
absolutely. Yeah.
So maybe I'm just too critical of theists, and that's why they won't have conversations with me, because they think I'm making fun of them.
Well, it depends on what they say, I guess. I mean, I don't want to go down the path of that theists are stupid, because I don't believe that.
No, they're
I've heard that a lot, and that bothers me, because a lot of my family is are theist. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, Matt Dillahunty has the best quote was, "I didn't become smart after I stopped believing in God."
Absolutely. Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
And I feel like saying to these people, come on, you're smart. You'll figure it out.
But there's just something, I don't know what it is that makes you hold on to it so tightly, that makes a person hold on to religion so tightly.
Well, they've done studies, and religion affects your brain by releasing endorphins, which make you feel good. So people are literally addicted to the idea that God is real.
Okay.
So
yeah.
They get a rush of good feelings whenever they think about God. And that's a reward. So apparently I don't have that addiction, or don't have that part of my brain. That I think about God, I think, what an asshole.
Yep, for sure.
But David Smalley is very good at talking to theists, and he does something that drives me crazy. He comes at it with, if God is real, and I can't even get that far. I can't. I mean, there's nothing about God that is real to me any more than Harry Potter is real to me.
Right.
But I'm jealous that David is able to have these conversations with all these theists, because they're interesting conversations. Though it has gotten to the point where I'm just hearing the same arguments. I mean, David's repeating himself over and over again, because he's using logic and reason, where the theist is just. But I feel, and I hope, and I wish, and I pray, and they're pulling it out of their ass.
Yeah.
And of course, David knows the Bible better than any of them, which is kind of hilarious in itself.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah. How do you think I could encourage a theist to have a conversation with me live? I mean, do you think I make fun of them? I mean, am I too critical of their beliefs?
No. Well, I am too, though. So I can't really talk. I haven't done a video in a while, but how do you make anybody more approachable that disagrees with you? I wonder. I think it might be about picking something very specific, maybe, to discuss with them, and, you know, like a specific topic.
And I was doing that with a theist view. I had very set. I had like, here are the questions up front.
Oh,
You know
okay.
what the questions are going to be. No, I'm not going to pull any punches. Here, you know,
Mhm.
and they didn't go for that.
Or maybe it's a matter of like stories from them, that you could kind of, like, maybe they could come on and say, this is why I'm whatever religion. And you could say, this is why I'm not a religious person.
Which is kind of what I wanted.
Yeah. So if they could.
Somebody brought up a very good practice, or you're just basically saying, okay, you believe in A, B, C, and D, and I believe in C, D, E, and F. So we will talk about C and D, and A, B, E, and F, we'll just put those aside and not worry about those. And
that's
good.
That's
perfect. That's exactly what I want to do. I want to find where we have commonality and talk about that.
Absolutely, yeah.
And of course, you know, you're going to bleed into the things that you do have conflict, but I want to have a conversation, not a debate, and I don't want to be arguing with someone. I consider myself a rather jovial person. I'd rather be laughing than fuming.
Absolutely, yes. Me too.
But I had a kid on the first time I did this, and we had a nice conversation. And I think I could have done it better, but it was the first one I did. I also think I probably should have had him ask his parents, because I didn't realize just how young he was. I think he was like 10, and I was like,
oh, wow.
So it's a little kid. But he was very smart and very articulate, and we had a very good conversation. So, I mean, it's just, and there was a few people in the chat that, you know, theists that were wanting to jump in. Darth Dawkins is one in particular. And I said, you know, wait your turn. I'll let you on later. But the conversation went long, and so I didn't. And since then, I've been going, hey, where are you? I thought you wanted to have a conversation. I thought you had questions for me. You know, where are you at?
Right.
But, you know, he's a no-show. And there's a few other people. And of course, there are other people that, you know, here's my premise. Here's what's real to me. You have to agree with these things. Otherwise, I won't talk to you.
Oh, wow.
The reason I want to talk to you is because I don't believe those things.
Right.
I want to talk about why you do.
Right. Absolutely. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All I can do is try. But
that's true.
I don't watch TV. I have these online debates with mostly theists. And there's a few different sites that, you know, people post a question and you can answer them. And I love doing that. Because I love expressing my ideas, right or wrong. And of course, you know, they're all right. and it entertains me more than TV does, because TV is just ridiculous.
Yeah, I'm not a big TV person either.
Except for The Big Bang Theory. And I love Stephen Hawking when he makes appearances on The Big Bang Theory. He was such a good repeating character. I'm very sad that he's not going to be there. And I'm very curious to see, I'm assuming they will, I hope they do, have an episode basically dedicated to Stephen Hawking.
Oh, that would be wonderful.
You know, saying goodbye. And somebody I'd really like to see on Big Bang Theory is Lawrence Krauss.
Yeah.
I think he would be wonderful, because he is a very vibrant, colorful, energetic person. I think he would be great.
Oh, I would love that. That would be great.
But he, amongst many others, is in the turmoil of being accused of sexual harassment.
Really?
Oh, yeah. And I've met him a few times, and I can believe it. He's a ladies' man. He likes the ladies. He's flirtatious. I mean,
wow.
he likes the attention. I mean, I can't verify the stories that he's been accused of, but he is. I mean, he is a celebrity in a certain circle of people, and people who are celebrities, they get more attention, and thus they feel a little bit more leeway in their behavior, right or wrong.
That's a shame.
So I'm sure he's crossed the line many times. But has he crossed the line far enough? I mean, like with Al Franken. He didn't say some things, but when he was a comedian, when comedian was his job, they crossed the line. But these were not like, I don't want to say Republicans, but we got priests and Republicans who are pedophiles and having sex with kids.
Right.
And they're like, oh, the Democrats are just as bad. See, they're doing shit too. I'm like, well, yeah, they are, but comparatively, it's completely different. And but it's sad that Al Franken stepped down. I wish he hadn't.
Yeah.
And Louis C.K. I mean, there's just a lot of people, and I think they were in positions of, I don't want to say authority. I think they were getting more attention, and I think they got addicted to the attention. And when you're addicted to something, your behavior changes, and you do things that you shouldn't do when you're addicted.
Yeah.
And I think that's more the case of most of these people. They just took it a little too far.
Yeah, and being famous probably does something to your brain, you know, and I think that has a lot to do with it. It probably messes you up. I mean, I've never been famous, but like, it probably really, you're having to deal with all these people that know you, but you don't know them, and you're getting treated differently than you've ever been treated before. I can imagine that would like really screw with your brain. So that's not an excuse. I'm just saying that could be part of it.
Yeah. And beautiful people tend to like celebrities, it seems. And when beautiful people, I mean, if you're a guy and a beautiful, and you like women, assuming, you have these beautiful women who are giving you all this attention, it's got to mess with your brain. I mean, it's you. At some point, you start thinking that you deserve it or something. I don't know.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Oh, Paul's got a question. Something ain't smart.
What did he say?
Smart, son. He said something ain't I smart. I don't know. Paul, what are you talking about? I should put on my glasses because I am blind. I just signed up to do not a marathon. It's called Rugged Maniac, and it's like an all-terrain 5K, going through mud and going over rope ladders and hills and slides, and so I signed up for this class that basically is doing that kind of stuff.
That's amazing.
My sister, who's like 5 years older than me, she is like super athletic, and I'm like, I feel old. I gotta do something. So instead of doing something normal like riding a bike or going for a jog, I'm going to do a 5K all-terrain crazy thing.
Wow, that's awesome though. That should be really fun.
But that came off of the fact that I'm blind because I cannot see. So if I start doing this, it's because I'm trying to read what Paul is saying. It says the same something. Oh, it says to say something. Very clever, Paul. Google told him to say something, so he said something.
Something.
So the third phase of our conversation is you. Well,
me.
You and I know I don't want to say people like you, but I had this conversation with Graydon Square. We have white people and we have non-white people, and I personally have the opinion that we have just people because I'm not white. I mean, this is white. I'm clearly not white. But here's the difference between white people and non-white people. Is non-white people do things like skin bleaching and want to be lighter, staying out of the sun. And white people do things like spray on tans.
Yeah, It's hilarious.
Like, how do you know if you're white or non-white? Do you spray on color or do you try to get rid of color? I give blood very often, and they always ask, "What race are you?" And I say, "Human," which they always get a big kick out of. We got Homo sapiens, and we got Homo Neanderthal and Homo erectus, and those are different species.
Right.
We are the same species, and we are the same race, and
absolutely
got different breeds of people.
Exactly.
Like dogs and horses, we got different breeds. We got big ones, small ones, dark ones, light ones. Ones with curly hair, ones with no hair. But anyhow.
Yeah.
Because that's the other thing I tried to do for a while was there was no old white guys, and I got a lot of flack from basically white guys going, why are you hating on white people? Like, it's kind of a joke. It's like I am the white guy. I represent the white guys, and I'm talking to everyone else, that you might not get a chance to hear so often. Because I've been to a lot of conferences, and the majority of speakers are old white guys. Well, not necessarily old. I say that because a lot of them are younger than I am. But they're prominently white men. And there's a growing number of other people, women and people of color, which is great. But there's still, I had this conversation with Matt Dillahunty that when there's an event set up and say there's three spots, there's going to be 3 speakers, and it's very easy to find white guys to talk, so they get 2 white guys, and they're like, well, we want to get somebody who isn't a white guy. So they approach women and they approach people of color to be filled the 3rd spot. And they're like, I would, but I want another woman or person of color also on the ticket. Like, well, we only have the 3 spots, and we got the 2 big names to draw people. We want somebody else who's not a white guy. And they're all like, well, when you get another non-white guy, let me know. Like, that's the problem is we can't, because you all say the same thing. You all say, you want your group to be represented.
Absolutely.
But you don't want to be representing it.
I understand what you're saying. Sure. Yeah.
So, and I see that. And it's a weird, it's a weird self-segregation that people do, and that's something all humans do. It stands out a little bit more when you want people to be represented, and they seem to be finding a way to not represent themselves, only because they don't want to be the only ones. Right.
Yeah, it is kind of difficult to be the only one. I grew up partially in Evansville, Indiana, which is in southern Indiana, and I was definitely the only person of color in my kindergarten class, those lower elementary school classes. I was definitely the only person of color, but like, I don't think it really like meant anything to me when I was 5, because it was just like, oh, school is fun. We get to play in the sandbox or whatever, so it's interesting that we grow up as adults and it matters, yeah, that's it.
I don't want to use the word prejudice, but awareness of skin color and religion kind of kicking at the same age. Around 10 is when you start realizing that your parents are this religion, or your parents feel a certain way about people of color, and what religion people are and what skin color they have starts becoming a thing. When you're younger, it
doesn't matter.
There are other kids that you play with, and
these are kids that I play with. That's all it is.
When I was little, I lived in northern Illinois, and it was all white people. And then my parents got divorced, and I moved to Maryland, and I moved to a primarily black neighborhood, and all my friends were black. And I was like, not the only white kid, but I think one of 2 white kids in my neighborhood. And didn't think anything of it. They were all just my friends.
Absolutely.
My mother. In fact, I made a point to this to someone that I grew up same way with race and religion. I was like, here's religion. You have to go to church. Here's religion. Here's what it's all about. But they didn't really say, God, this is the one true religion that you have to believe. And, if you don't believe it, you're going to be punished. They just said, here it is, and figure it out. And with, people of color, it's like, here they are. Go and experience it and figure it out. There was never really, black people are bad or Hispanic people are bad, or, there was never this, nobody in my family really pointed at any other group and said that they were different.
Sure.
I saw it more within the other families pointing at each other. The black families pointing at each other, being different, which it's a very weird internal racism that,
it's very sad.
Level of skin color. Light skinned blacks tend to not like dark skinned blacks, and Mexicans don't like blacks, and just it's just this weird, the skin color, the lighter you are, the more I don't get it. I mean, I understand that it's there, but I just don't understand why it's there. It just seems so weird.
I don't really have a good answer because
there is no good answer. It's like, why are Christians versus Muslims? I mean, it's when you're killing each other. I always found it fascinating and frightening, and I can't even remember. Yeah, I grew up when the IRA, the Irish something army. I mean, they were at war. It's like the Protestants and the Lutherans or the Catholics or whatever were at war all the time and killing each other
over what?
Over basically the same God.
Right.
And it was just like, I don't
understand.
Aren't they all Christians? I mean, just
I don't understand why. I mean, I grew up with like my mom's like half Puerto Rican, and my dad's black, but like I grew up a lot similar to you, where like there wasn't ever any kind of like this person is bad because they're this race, or that person is bad because they're that race. It was just, there's good and bad people in the world, and so that whole, like, I always thought, oh, like my friend is pretty, whether she's dark skinned or light skinned or whatever. Oh, that's a nice dress my friend has on today. It was never, and I'm friends with, like, even now I'm friends with everybody. Like, I like to say, like, as far as racism goes, why would you let stereotypes determine whether or not you like a person? That's kind of taking your freedom away from you being able to decide for yourself whether or not you like a person. So that's been like kind of my philosophy. And I just like people, or I don't like people, and it doesn't matter what they look like. If they're mean to me, I'm probably not going to like them, so yeah, that's where I am there.
I mean, I have a good, not a good story, but I've got a story. My ex-wife is Mexican, and so of course all my in-laws are Mexican, and I used to have membership to the zoo, so I would bring the kids to the zoo, and the kind of joke was, they're all my kids. Well, my one nephew, in the summer, he gets really dark, and I had comment, I thought rather innocently, that no one's going to believe you're my son, because you're too dark, and I just it didn't even cross my mind that might be a bad thing to say. And he got super upset. Not right away, but later on, I heard that he gotten super upset. I'm like, why would that, would that be upsetting to me? And his uncle, my brother-in-law, called me up and he's yelling at me. It's like, what did you say to him? Why did you upset him? Why did you tell him he looked like he was black? I'm like, I didn't say he looked, I said his skin was too dark to look like he was my son. And I realized that they have a deep racism towards black people. And it's that racism that made my nephew think that I was comparing him to a black person, thus implying that he was, you know, less of a person or whatever. And so I started yelling at my brother-in-law. I'm like, it's your fault he's upset. It's your hatred towards black people that makes him think that black people are not good, and me indicating that his skin color is closer to black than white made him feel bad.
Right.
So you're the asshole that is why he feels bad, not from what I said.
Right.
And it just seems crazy. So how do you think we should get more people involved in, I guess, less segregation involved? And I say that because we got the black non-believers, and there's a couple other ones, which I fully support, and I understand why they're doing it, and I support what they're doing. But it seems this internal segregation again. This, you know, we don't feel part of the group, so we're just going to make our own group.
And what's weird about the black non-believers, I mean, I'm on their page too, is that they talk about the same stuff that like I talk about on YouTube. It's like, it's the stuff they talk about is not about race. So it's like really interesting that there's like a separate group. I'm not sure how to do it, but I think
I'm a member of all those groups too. It's like it's not like they're
exclusive.
saying, you know, you're white and you can't be part of it. They're just saying we have our own separate colored group.
Yeah. It's a really interesting group. I wish it was that there was like a more general group. I'm sure there are. I'm sure there's like a million groups. I obviously don't go on Facebook that much. Well, I go, but not deep into Facebook.
That's the trouble. There are like dozens and dozens and dozens of different groups, and that's what we do. We subdivide because we, you know, like religion, we each find our own little niche. That, you know, we want to talk about this. And you know, I treat it like I did religion. I'm just a member of all of them to see what they're all talking about. And take what I want and leave the rest. But there are other people who stay right within their particular group.
Yeah, and I think you're cheating yourself if you do that. I think that like getting to know other people that are different from you, you find out how much alike they are. And that goes for like religion too. It's, you know, it's about getting to know one another. And debating is good, but it's about the stories that we have to share with each other. So, you know, I have a lot of different kinds of friends, I guess. But I just look at them all the same way, and I have a lot in common with different people. So maybe we should party more. Just like kind of get together with one another more and try to make an emphasis on learning about other people. You know what I mean? Yeah. So maybe there could be some kind of event where it's like you have to do like some kind of icebreaker where you meet with people that are not like you, you know, to find out how they are like you.
Yeah. The only trouble is trying to get people to show up to these.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, you know, the fact that I was trying to do, you know, I changed No Old White Guys to Atheist Diversity Highlight.
Yeah.
It was kind of the same thing, just trying to get people want to belong to I guess a tight-knit group. You know, they want to feel and they want to support each other. So they there's been several conferences. I've been to a lot of conferences, and the majority of people there are white. And I get the impression that, you know, people of color don't show up because they don't want to feel like the minority. But until they start showing up, they're always going to be the minority.
Absolutely.
So the response was to create their own group so that they're not the minority. But then that group is not part of the bigger group. Right. So they're still the minority.
Right.
And I just, you know, we got the American Atheist convention coming up actually in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Still not 100% sure I'm going to that. Got my airfare So
Oh,
I'm going
wow.
there. I got to buy a ticket.
Okay. Yeah.
But it's kind of the same thing. I'm looking at all the forums that show everyone that's going, and it's like it's a bunch of white people.
Hmm. Yeah.
I mean, I feel weird saying something like that. I had a job offer in Cincinnati, and and my friend lives there, and I was like, I didn't take it because it's a bunch of white people. Yeah, I like Chicago because it's a very diverse culture. It's you
That's
got
absolutely
people from
true.
all over
Yeah.
the world here.
Hmm.
You go downtown and you experience the world. Even here in Oak Lawn, where I live, I mean, I've got people from. I mean, it's still a lot of white people, but there's a lot of diversity. Actually, it's this growing number of Muslims. So there's a lot of the Middle East is a growing segment of the population here.
Interesting.
I'm not
Maybe
real
one of
crazy
them will
about
talk to you on one of these. That would be interesting. Hey, why not?
but I like diversity. I like to have
Me too.
a little bit of everything there.
Yeah, me
And
too.
the lineup of speakers for American Atheists is it's pretty good. Pretty good, not
Hmm.
great, but uh, several people that I haven't seen before, which is good.
Hmm.
Um, several women, which is good. But again, it's I don't know if people are just so used to these events being white. I know the Black non-believers events. Um,
Hmm.
the videos I've seen, I've wanted to go to their events, but they're down at Atlanta. Um,
Yeah.
it's a little bit more diverse of a crowd, but
Hmm.
it'd be nice to have a merger of
Hmm.
like the Black non-believers and American Atheists or Gateway to Reason, or just get two conferences
Right.
happening at the same time at the same place.
Right. That'd be great. Yeah.
And then you could intermingle.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That would be great. Or just make it like a topic at like Gateway, just talking about that. Because I'm not sure how much people are talking about it.
Yeah.
That would be a
Steve
start.
Hill, yeah, Steve Hill, who's a comedian, he talks about it,
Yeah.
which he was actually one of the inspirations to the No Old White Guys thing I
Hmm.
was doing,
Hmm.
just to kind of highlight that Steve Hill and actually Graydon Square, they are aggravated by the fact that people of color are segmenting themselves away from the bigger group because
Hmm.
they don't want to be a minority. And because
Hmm.
they don't want to be a minority, they're leaving they're leaving a hole
Hmm.
that's that the few people who do show up are they're a minority because nobody else is showing up because they don't want to be part of the minority.
Right.
It's self-fulfilling prophecy weird thing.
Absolutely. I would see
Um,
what you're saying.
but
Yeah.
maybe I should suggest that to Mendiza Thomas that
Yeah.
she should have her conference with another conference.
Sure. That's a great idea. Yeah. That's a great idea.
And just be next door to each other, and
Hmm.
and then at night we all party together, because that's the best part of these conferences is not the
Party.
speakers. I mean, speakers are interesting, but it's the
Yeah.
party afterwards. That's
Yeah.
why people go. I mean, those things are a
Right.
blast, up all
Yeah.
night. Though Hugh Laurie is going to be an American Atheist,
Yeah, I heard that.
though I doubt that he's going to be hanging around. The first conference I went to had Neil deGrasse Tyson, who
Wow.
to me, he is not a black man. He's just, I mean, just he is. I
Superman.
he's just a human being.
Yeah,
It's
that's true.
he doesn't really he doesn't really acknowledge his color in the same way he doesn't really acknowledge his atheism, because he is an
That's
atheist.
true.
Make
Hmm.
no confusion about that. He's definitely an atheist,
Hmm.
but he sees no point in talking about it. Just like he really sees no point in talking about the color of
Yeah.
his skin. He's got
Hmm.
more important things to talk about, which is so awesome.
Yeah, he
But
really
Lawrence
does.
Krauss was also at that conference, and he hung out and he took part. He was at the parties and dancing, and it was so I got to hang out with him and dance with him, and that was
Oh, that would have been fun.
really cool.
Yeah.
So I doubt that Hugh Laurie's going to be hanging around, but it'd be cool if he did. But yeah, these
Hmm.
conferences is more about the parties afterwards is about the speakers.
Mm-hmm.
Because you look at the crowd sitting for the speakers, and it's like, half full auditorium, and then the party's got like all these people.
That's funny. That's very cool.
That's the only reason I wanted to go. I mean, like I said, a lot of these speakers I've seen. Well, not so much on this one, but I want to go to visit friends. That the only time I get to see them are at these conferences.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah.
So, so what else would you like to talk about?
What would I like to talk about? Okay. I do have a bit of, and I'm probably going to make a video about this. Just like, since we're on the minority thing, women aren't a minority, but we went to go see Sam Harris, and
it's funny. Women are a minority, and yet they're half the population.
Right? They're not. We are not a minority.
You're a represented minority.
Yeah, but so I went to see Sam Harris with Lawrence Krauss and Matt Dillahunty. Huh?
I know.
I can hear you. I know you were
there. But luckily I'm friends with Phil Ferguson and friends with Matt Dillahunty, so I got to go backstage and hang out with Lawrence.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
That was very cool.
I always wondered what I'm going on a tangent. Anyway, I might be a little overly judgmental, but I'm wondering if women feel like they have to dumb themselves down. Because when it came to the question answer session, you're talking to like, these great minds.
Yeah.
And a couple of the women just asked like, oh my gosh, I've forgotten the questions. Yeah, it was stuff like that. Yeah. It was kind of like that, or what book are you reading right now, or whatever. And one of them, what was it? I can't remember, but it was just kind of like empty questions for as far as I could feel. And this might be something that like people could answer. Just I don't understand why it was the women that were asking these questions, and it wasn't like why a woman is afraid to go up and say, hey, Sam Harris, tell me this thing about neurotransmitters or whatever, like why it's, and I felt that too. I have felt in the past like a need to like act dumb. And I don't know where that comes from.
I have a theory. Guys want to ask tough questions because they want to, they want to prove themselves. They want to, show that they're not a dummy. So they're thinking of the smartest question that they can think of. Where I think, and this gets back to the sexual harassment, I think women want to be seen as appealing. They want to, they want to be liked, thought of as cute. They want to be more appealing to the person they're talking to. So they tend to be through softballs. That's my theory.
That's a good theory. That helps me understand it a little better.
Because I think if Carrie Santa Maria had been up there, the questions may have been a bit tougher from the girls and a lighter from the boys.
Oh, I see. I understand.
I mean, I certainly would definitely like to get the attention of her and have her think I was cute.
Well, there you go. I understand.
Kara, what's the color of your wallpaper in your bedroom? Can you show me?
No comment.
I need evidence.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Okay. Well, that gives a little bit more insight.
It's just a theory. No, it's a hypothesis.
It's a hypothesis.
Actually, I wanted to make a T-shirt that said that. It's not a theory, it's a hypothesis.
That's great. So okay, yeah, so that's about it for now. Yeah.
So who would you like me to try to get a conversation going with? Because I have a whole list of people, but
there's so many. Let's see. I mean, I'm a fan of Seth's, as you know, and
the conversation I'd like to have with Seth is basically doing a behind, not so much behind the scenes, but kind of a deconstruction of the talks that he does, because he does he gives great talks, but they're very polished, and he gives them a lot of work. And I'd like to have talked to him on his thought processes on how he creates his talks, because unlike like Matt Dillahunty, he kind of gets an idea of what he's going to talk about and goes. Seth is very, but he's agreed to do this, and I've had a few conversations with him, because he's a super nice guy.
Sure. Oh yeah, he really is. Yeah, and humble. Like,
yeah,
I'm very surprised. Anyway. And then maybe even like Mandisa would be good, since she's the one that like started the. Did she start it, or she's just a recruiting member? She did start it.
Well, actually, I had this conversation with her because she's the president. I can't remember if she started individually or with someone else, but yeah, she's definitely one of the creators of it.
Yeah.
Do you know? Have you ever listened to Angry Black Rant? The Angry Black Rant?
No, I'm gonna write that down though. I haven't heard it.
With Ishmael Brown.
Okay.
And I'm bringing this up because I'm still kind of irritated about it. That's actually a podcast I used to really like listening to. And how I would describe a lot of people talking it is, and I say it with complete love, and I'm not going to say it because I can't say it, which is the N word.
Yeah.
White people don't get permission to say it, black people do. But I don't know if I'm conditioned, but I can say it in my head, but I can't say it out loud. Of course, I used to not be able to say fuck out loud, but my last
Me
job
too.
became a very fuckity fuck, and now I can say it all the time. But I with love, I always think I'd listen to the podcast, and I with complete love and affection thinking, man, these are uppity ends. They were just so really good, and I loved it. But I heard some things about him that kind of lost respect, and then I posted something, basically my view on Black History Month, which I didn't articulate very well. And instead of people saying you kind of said that wrong, they just jumped all over me. I'm just really just because I tagged a bunch of black people. It was Black History Month, and they just the vitriol really I found shocking. And Ishmael, he got all on me, and then like a punk ass bitch, he blocked me.
What?
I was like, yeah. I was like, really?
Okay.
Because somebody suggested that he had me on Angry Black Rant. And I'm like, hey, that'd be great. I'd love it. But no, he disappeared instead.
Wow.
I was like, okay, whatever, dude. Anyhow, he's somebody that I would really like to have a conversation with. Kind of about his reaction.
Absolutely.
Anyhow, it just, people are so nuts. It just is shocking to me all the time how people react. I say something that I think is well thought out, and I think supportive. And I get this sometimes when I've made several posts about the trans community and how I think how I see transsexuals, and either I'm ignored or I'm attacked.
Oh, really?
I'm like, I'm trying to be on your side. And I'm like, you're I mean, it's like, I'm not bad mouthing. I had this with Daniela Moscato, who I knew for the first few years as Daniel. Like, I knew as a man. And I have a problem with history. if I, somebody who's transsexual, and I knew them as one sex, and then they change, I have no problem calling them the sex that they changed or not. Well, that they identify with.
Sure.
But when I think about them in the past,
Mm-hmm.
I can't retro think of them as female when I only knew them as male. My cousin's now daughter, same thing, was always my nephew. I think in the past it was my nephew.
Mm-hmm.
I understand when somebody's trans that they feel they've always been the one sex. But when you present yourself as one sex, I think of you as that particular sex. So if you feel like you are a different sex, but you're presenting yourself as the sex that,
right.
I can't make that leap. Stephanie Thompson, I've only known as female.
Right.
In fact, I was somewhat surprised when I found out that she was trans. Because pretty girl. She's always been a pretty girl, and that's all I've ever seen. But she had a very tough road. Now she is now officially. She had it's not reassignment, but she had I don't know if it's corrective. I'd love to have her on.
Yes, please do. I would love to hear about that. Yeah.
Because she had a nice talk with David Smalley, and I love Stephanie because David Smalley falls over himself trying to be respectful and say the right things, and he really tries. And if he slips up just a little, she was just all over him. He's like,
oh wow,
you're an asshole.
So all you have to do is tell her at the beginning, I might say some asshole things.
Oh, that's I've already practiced the conversation I'd have with her. I was like, I'm going to say things, and feel free to call me an asshole. It's going to hurt my feelings, but I'm a big boy, and I will get over it. But, I'm not going to fall over myself like David, and just
be you. That's important.
I will be as respectful as I possibly can, but I'm going to say things that are going to piss you off, just up front.
Absolutely, that's great. So, yeah,
I'd love to have a conversation with her.
Yeah, that sounds wonderful.
A list of the people that I'd have conversations with. If I could get this rolling. I mean, I was supposed to have one with Thomas Westbrook of Holy Kool-Aid on Monday.
Right.
But the weekend got away from both of us, and we kind of forgot about it at the last minute, and he was busy because he's actually working. We're kind of phoning it in, I think.
Right.
So I'll have another shot with him. But if I could build this up, have a conversation with Lawrence Krauss, who I've chatted with on Facebook, and I've chatted with him in person. So I think I'd probably get him to give 15 minutes of his time. Sure. But
what about Jacqueline Glenn? Do you know Jack?
Yes. I forgot about her, to be quite honest.
Yeah.
I used to be a huge fan, and she started phoning it in. In fact, I did a video about her a couple of years ago, because she had done a video where she was basically repeating something Sam Harris had said, almost verbatim.
I missed that.
and everyone was like, "Oh, she's plagiarizing. She's a fake. She's a fraud." I'm like, no, she's not really plagiarizing. She was just being lazy. I mean, it's just this need to get content out. She stopped thinking and just started saying. I just like, okay, that's why I stopped doing videos. I said everything I wanted to say, and to continue doing videos would, I was starting to repeat myself. I'm like, I've said it all. I'm not just going to just create content for the sake of creating content.
Absolutely.
But I enjoy doing the videos, and I enjoy the interaction. Duke City's there.
What's up, Duke?
What is he saying? He's somebody I want to get on here. Let's see. I'm tired of people's feelings and emotions, At the end of only feelings, I'm dyslexic. Let me put it out there. I'm dyslexic and I need glasses. So I'm having a hard time reading this. I'm tired of people's feelings and emotions. And at the end, the only feelings that matter to me are mine and my family's. Okay? Too many emotions in this world and not enough facts. This is very true. And this is where we get in trouble with religion. Religion is based on emotions and not facts.
That's true. Although, you know, try not to get fired or anything by not caring about what your supervisor feels.
I had a lunch with my old boss, and somehow, I don't know if he brought it up or I brought it up, but you know, I'm a very out atheist, and oh, we were talking about somebody dying, and he was like, and I know you don't believe in that stuff, but I'm like, you're the boss. You could say, you know, I'm not gonna say anything. You can say whatever you want. What you say goes. Like coworkers, I can tell them to, you know, they're full of shit. But the boss, So Duke City says his religion is based on evidence. So Duke, I hope you will have a conversation like this with me. A fun, jovial, joking conversation.
Yes.
Because be arguing about whether or not God is real is kind of pointless. Because here's my view on arguing about God. You can't prove God is real. You can't prove God isn't real. So God isn't real in that you can't show it to be real. But then God is also not false because you cannot show it to be false. So God is kind of like that. Just it's, you know, God, to me, God is a word. That's all God is. God exists in the minds of people. I wouldn't bother trying to, you know, it befuddles me when people say you can't prove that God isn't real. Like, duh. Nobody's arguing that. Nobody's saying, you know, I say that people's gods aren't real because it's just in their heads, because their God is different than any other God. And I wish they could understand that their concept of God doesn't match anyone else's concept of God. So why do they think their God is real? But you know, that's the only time that I'll say God is not real. The God in your head is only in your head. That's the only place it exists. Sorry to say. But let's see what else Duke has to say. Yeah, I don't have the want to argue about God. You cannot prove a negative. Yes, what I just said. Like I said, Duke, this is for you. I'll repeat what I said earlier. Two people have the view. One person A has the view of A, B, C, D. Person B has the views of C, D, E, F. I want to talk about the C and the D, the A and the B and the E and the F. We can let those go. Let's talk about things that we don't necessarily agree on, but have in common. That's the conversation I want to have. And I also want to say hello to. Uh-oh, my frame rate is amazing. Why, thank you. I'm not even going to bother. I have to have him on and have the conversation because XIAO. I'm sorry. I just I have no desire to try to pronounce that word.
XIAO. XIAO.
It's Chinese, so.
Yeah, it sounds Chinese.
And Paul, I'm not sure if Paul's still around. Paul was watching the Paralympic Games. Did you watch the Olympics at all?
I haven't in a while. I don't actually have a TV.
You just had him.
So if I watch, I mean, I've watched clips on YouTube, but otherwise, no, I don't. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like I don't watch any TV either. I watch all of YouTube and I spend my days I don't want to say arguing with people because it's not really an argument. It's more of just pointing out that they're wrong.
Oh, goodness.
Well, it is 10 o'clock.
That was really fun.
See, having a direct conversation is a lot more fun than trying to do, posting in the comment sections. Because the meaning gets lost every time. But when you can't hear somebody's words, it's so easy to misconstrue what they're trying to say.
Absolutely.
And start talking past each other.
Yes.
But let's call it a night.
Okay.
We'll see if I can get somebody next week, or maybe this Friday. I think I'm around. Duke, come on here with me. And Paul, I had last week, and I gotta find a way to build up an audience so that I can encourage more interesting people. I don't want to say you're not interesting, but
No, it's not a problem.
Lawrence Krauss. Though Seth was like, sure, I'd do it. And David Fitzgerald, good friend, super nice guy. He has written several books about basically Jesus probably not existing. And the title of the conversation I wanted with him were I forget what it was, but it was basically Jesus maybe, Moses probably not, Vishnu definitely not, or something like that. I don't know if are you familiar with the fact that a growing number of theologians no longer think that Moses was a real person?
I did not know that.
It is a growing trend.
Interesting. It makes sense, yeah.
Yeah. Especially some of the shitty things Moses did.
Yeah.
But people are still holding steadfast. Well, most people are still holding steadfast that Jesus is real. Like, well, people used to think Thor was real, and and Vishnu. Yeah. I guess people still think Vishnu is real. I can't remember. Vishnu, the one with the head like an elephant? Vishnu. I don't know my Indian gods.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'd have to Google that.
Got the ones with the multiple arms and the monkey head guy. Or maybe Vishnu's the monkey head one. I don't know. Anyways, this is going to be tonight's end of Tea with Tom. Though tonight I was drinking coffee. Like my coffee mugs. I love these. These are the best mugs. Actually, I've got 3 different brands. I got the original, I think this one's Arctic. I forget which one was the original one, but I got the original one as a gift. It was like a 12-ounce mug that was $30, which is ridiculous. Then I got a 20-ounce mug, and that wasn't big enough. I got a 30-ounce mug, and that wasn't big enough. It's a 40-ounce mug.
That's a big mug.
I'm a big drinker.
Yeah. Vishnu. Oh, sorry. I just Googled Vishnu, and it's the one with the arms.
One of those freaky ones, those freaky gods. Okay. Oh, got several more comments from Duke.
Oh, wow. Duke, just come on the show, Duke.
This was a neat experience for Duke. Thanks for the invite.
Yay!
Anytime. Let's see. I have 4 kids running around. Oh, I know the feeling. When my daughter has her friends over, I'm like, they're screaming. I hope they're not all girls, Duke, because that'll give you a headache. He was drinking vodka. Drinking vodka because he has a cold. When I have a cold, I have a rusty nail, which is Scotch, and Drambuie, which is basically Scotch liqueur. So Duke, look up rusty nail. Best drink for a cold. Knock it right out. Put you to sleep.
Whiskey as well. I had a terrible cold in Vegas, so I got like some whiskey, and it knocked it out.
Yeah. That's the only time I like whiskey or Scotch is when I have a cold. The only time I like it is when I can't actually taste it. It's like people say, black, Johnny Walker Black Label, such good Scotch. I'm like, it tastes like Band-Aids to me. I'm just. But I like it when I have a cold and can't taste it.
It's true.
Oh, Duke's got 3 girls and 1 boy. That poor boy.
Wow.
That's what I
Poor
was.
boy.
I had 3 older sisters.
Oh, wow. I'm so sorry.
And the funny thing is, all my sisters were tough. I had very athletic, very strong sisters, and I was a little girly boy.
Oh no.
I was this scrawny little kid, just like my daughter.
Oh, that's funny.
Okay, Duke, we're gonna do this. If we have to do it later on, we can do it later on. And I'll make myself rusty nail. We can drink and get silly. That's when these things are fun. But I got to get to doing some work. I got to find myself a job.
Okay.
Unemployed for 2
like
million. But
not
very
fun.
much sneeze.
But
It was fun.
It was lovely. It was great. Thank you.
And hopefully we have to have an event in Chicago. So we can hang out again.
That would be great.
It was great seeing you at the Krauss Harris Dillahunty event.
Yes. It was wonderful. Yes.
Anyways,
all right. Talk to you soon.
Tom, your friendly neighborhood atheist. This is Tea with Tom, and we'll catch you next time. Bye.
Bye.